Why'd you bring me here?
Because I want to know just how badly you want Tony Zuko.
What do you mean? Who are you?
I take it Master Dick's visit will now be indefinite?
Why did DCAU Dick Grayson quit being Robin? In the animated series, or the New Adventures technically, the answer is pretty dark. Dick's world was destroyed when he couldn't see Batman the same way anymore. From his disgusting cruelty to his manipulation to losing the one thing that kept him him. This episode, Old Wounds, was a childhood obsession of mine because it's so f***ing dark. The episode is broken into 3 acts: the graduation, the wound, and the heal. It opens with a dude being mugged, but Tim Drake intervenes, then Nightwing shows up.
I coulda handled him. Coulda, woulda, didn't.
But when pressed about his past, apparently Dick has the same reply as Bruce.
Things change. Maybe you should ask him.
I did. And you'll never guess what he said. Things change.
But what does that actually mean? At graduation, Alfred and Barbara are there, but Bruce isn't. Of course, he was supposed to sit next to Barbara. When she asks if Dick wants to continue being a rich prick, he actually says no.
Don't think so. I'm ready to be my own man. No more sponging off Bruce.
And more importantly, he wants to be with her. Barbara is Dick's home. He stresses her inclusion in his future because she's his continuity for who he is, the one who makes him his own man.
Oh, a vow of poverty?
No, I've got a trust fund from the circus. It's an insurance settlement for when my folks died. But whatever my future holds, I hope it includes you.
But then Batman interrupts. He really wants some Dick.
You're late.
Excuse me for having a life.
The feelings between their relationship in this episode is very cleverly summarized by symmetry with the following scene.
It's the easiest 100 you'll ever make. All you gotta do is give us the high sign if you see anyone coming.
When Dick leaves, we see a poor guy getting involved with the Joker. So as Dick walked away from his life, so does this guy. Just as Dick talked about being reliant on Bruce's money, this dude gets some stuck in his mouth. Both are following orders under an unspoken contractual relationship. There's a theme of manipulation and obligation shared between them, but on the other hand, for Batman, this isn't out of a sense of narcissism. When he's trapped, he tells Robin to ignore him.
Never mind. Get him!
He's just very neglectful, to the extent that when Dick follows the guard back to his tiny apartment in the rough part of town where his family is, his wife and small child, Dick freezes. But Batman doesn't. Robin sees himself in that child, but Batman doesn't. Instead, he continues to rough up the father, traumatizing the son. When Robin protests, Batman still doesn't care.
Batman, not like this. Not in front of his family.
The sooner he talks, the sooner we leave.
So in his disgust, Dick leaves.
I'm out of here now.
Batman looks surprised, slightly frozen, and in this moment, this is the first tear that begins the wound, that begins the trauma. Yeah, it's been a few months, so I thought I'd talk. As an act of healing, Dick returns to the one thing closest he has to a home, Barbara.
I didn't know where else to go. I've had it.
However, he can't explain anything. There's 2 ways you can interpret this moment. As established earlier, Dick is already much like Bruce, so his anger and his inability to connect with people is a direct characteristic inherited from his father, unless it involves singing the blues. But it could also be that his relationship with him has always been inherently traumatic, in the sense that if Dick's trauma was the loss of his parents and Bruce helped him make meaning from it, then Dick's own life was healed by being written around Bruce's. The story of being an orphan ended when his story as Bruce's son began. However, Bruce didn't entirely share or attend to this.
Because there's a little boy up there who's just aching for some of that attention.
I'm doing this for him.
And as a result, there's 2 contradictory Bruce Waynes that contradicts Dick's recovery. His sense of self. The Bruce who's his father, who shared the same pain and took him in.
Does the hurt ever go away?
I wish I could say yes.
But then there's also the Bruce, who's a stone-cold abuser, who never speaks and can never love.
You know the rules. There are times when I can't explain
My actions even to you. Hey, that line worked great in 6th grade, but in case you hadn't noticed...
At the end of Robin's reckoning, Dick in fact calls him out on this very thing.
Stuff your advice, Batman. You and your stone-cold heart. You don't know how I feel. How could you?
So Robin has always struggled to make meaning from his past with Bruce, struggled to conceptualize himself while living in his life, and struggled to imagine his own future with Batman. Because who is he?
I can't do this anymore. I've got to get away. Away from him.
I don't understand.
How could you? How could anybody?
So Dick's inability to articulate himself wasn't just to protect Barb, but also a symptom of the trauma, the inability to make sense of his past. As a result, Barbara meets Bruce all alone in his mansion. Presumably this is something that's very irregular, that will never happen ever again. Surely Bruce isn't gonna one day get in a relationship with his son's girlfriend and his best friend's daughter.
How could you?
Or get her pregnant. Bruce proclaims,
You really care for him, don't you?
and he leads her to the cave. Alfred reveals the truth.
Yes, I admit it. I am Batman.
However, Bruce's honesty isn't just because he cares for his son and possibly wants to get off with his girlfriend, who's way younger than him, but he also knows she's Batgirl.
Why would you trust me with this?
For Dick's sake. Besides, I'm not the only one with the secret, am I?
So when Joker threatens Gotham with a transmitter that stops planes, without hesitation he takes her in Dick's place.
Keep trying. The Joker will have his goons well placed. I'm gonna need backup.
You've already got it.
He could have just asked for Superman, you know? He could have just shown up and blown up the... Up high, Batgirl is fighting on her own as Joker puffs.
She's a feisty little minx. And quite a looker, too.
And she gets thrown off. Dick rescues her. Then she further endangers herself by being bait, as Joker shoots Disruptor and Batman has to save her. All this danger only makes the reveal worse.
Batgirl. I still can't believe it. How could you keep something like this from me?
Dick is like, what the fuck? Bruce's response is,
It wasn't my place to tell you.
But it was your place to put her in danger.
there's two conflicting uncommunicated point of views here that are dragged into the surface. Bruce, on one hand, respects them both as individuals with their own lives, where they can tell each other on their own terms, but for Dick, this is all manipulation. They just need to be useful for him. And to keep them in line, Bruce exploits everyone's sense of altruism.
It wasn't like that. I volunteered.
You think you did.
Because I want to know just how badly you want Tony Zuko.
You don't know him like I do. He manipulates, pulls strings, anything to get what he wants.
Sorry, Robin, but on this team, I call the shots.
But I've waited half my life.
Batman out.
In fact, that's how he even recruited Robin. Bruce in this world is like an unchanging thing, a monolith of a man. Bruce only confirms this when he doesn't apologize or speak to his son as a father, but instead refocuses it back to what he wants, like an Asian parent.
I thought we had the same goals.
Things change. I changed. The game's over, Batman. I quit.
And it was this moment Robin died. The young Dick Grayson who lived under Bruce was gone after graduation. Now Robin is gone too. The only home he had was with Barbara, but that's gone too now.
Robin, wait.
However, during all of this, Dick's anger is an expression of his resilience, and that's something that can be read as him still following in his father's path. Hence, by the time we see him in the present, he speaks like the man and acts like him. Dick may have chosen not to wear the costume his father gave him, but that doesn't mean he's all that different.
You sound just like Batman.
I'm nothing like him.
Yeah, right. The mask, the attitude, the long underwear.
Drop it. I never put on that costume again.
And you still haven't forgiven him?
Why should I? He'll never change.
Regardless, he returns to the scene of the crime because the victim's wallet belonged to the security guard all those years ago, who has a job as a guard in Wayne Enterprises. It'd be ridiculous to assume Batman would give this sort of attention to every lowly thug he beats the shit out of, so that meant the look Batman gave as his son left him in disgust did affect him. He did deliberately look after this one specific guy afterwards as an act of love for his son, and Dick realizes that his father did in fact care. He wasn't all cold and manipulative.
Now I've got this great job. Even Mr. Wayne knows me. Never too busy to stop and ask how my boy's doing.
And Bruce asking for how his son is doing is like him asking for his own.
Mr. Wayne is a good man.
Therefore, Dick's old wound begins to heal. Bruce is not so cold or so bad after all. So, for Nightwing, seeing him inside himself isn't so bad. So this time, when the bat signal shines, he doesn't run from his father, he returns home.
I guess it's about time.
It's been 4 hours.
Uh-huh.
You still think they'll show?
Uh-huh.
Lucky for me, you're such a good conversationalist.
Alright, so that was the Old Wounds analysis. This was supposed to come out later, but I had to shuffle things around because I was working on this Wonder Woman DCAU video, which was focused on the psychology of attractive animated characters, but I've never studied that area before, so that took way longer than planned. So I moved this one up front, and this was way easier to work on.
Yeah, fine, just redecorating. Right here.